Welcome to the RC Stories Garage. In this episode, I will show you how to configure advanced winch control via channel mixing with winch priority on your rock crawler or trail truck. This is part 3 in a 3-part series about configuring your DX5 Rugged radio to control a winch. In part 1, I covered basic winch radio setup. In part 2, I covered channel mixing using throttle priority. Winching is fun, and in some contexts, like competitions, almost a necessity. Self-recovery winching in technical terrain often requires you to run the winch, steer, and use the throttle all at the same time. This is especially true of trucks with strong drag brake, hill hold, or FOC throttle matching functions. These trucks do not freewheel while winching. With winch priority channel mixing active, when you spool your winch in or out, your truck will also automatically drive forward or in reverse at the rate we specify. This way, you're not required to actively match your throttle speed to the winch speed, giving you one less thing to think about. I'm going to demonstrate this setup with Spektrum DX5 Rugged radio, but the concept should be applicable to any advanced radio system with at least one auxiliary channel. If you haven't already configured your radio for basic winch control, I suggest you watch part 1 of this series. I won't go into much detail about mixing here, so if you need a refresher on this more advanced topic, you should watch part 2 in this series. If you already have basic winch control configured and think you're ready to tackle throttle priority channel mixing, let's get started. Here's what you need for this project. You need a winch with a built-in controller or an external winch controller attached to an auxiliary channel of your receiver. You need a free 2-position switch on your controller, in addition to the 3-position switch you already have assigned to basic winch control. That's 2 switches dedicated to winch control. You will want some representative terrain on which to test your winch setup. This video will cover the following setup steps: preparing the radio transmitter, setting up channel mixing, fine-tuning the mix. The first step is to choose which radio input you want to use for on-the-fly mix activation. The DX5 Rugged has 7 primary programmable inputs labeled A to G. You can use any of these inputs, but it should not have any other function assigned to it. If it currently does, remove that function before continuing. I like to use E and F for shifting servos and G for dig. I use D for normal winch control and switch C for winch mix activation. From the main screen, press OK to enter the function list. Scroll to Mixing and press OK. Scroll down to the Mix 0 selector and press OK. This is the custom mixing setup screen. The master input will be copied to the slave output at the rate specified. We will turn the mix on and off with a switch. Scroll down to the master selector and press OK. Scroll up to select the auxiliary channel your winch is connected to and press OK. Scroll down to the slave selector and press OK. Scroll up to throttle and press OK. Scroll down to switch and press OK. Scroll up to C or whichever input you are using and press OK. Input C will now act as a 2-position switch. Clicking it right turns on the mix. Clicking it left turns off the mix. You can reverse the behavior by inverting the 0 and 1 boxes. 0 is left, 1 is right. Light is off, dark is on. The little dot below the boxes shows the current position of the switch. Scroll to select 1 or 0, toggle the on-off behavior by pressing OK. Finally, scroll up to the rate selector and press OK. Scroll down to set both rates to -50% to start with, and then press OK. Let's go back to the mixing monitor, a useful tool, to see how it works. From the custom mixing setup screen, simply press the back button. You can now power on the truck, but make sure the wheels are off the ground. Click the C input in the off direction to disable the mix. Spool out some winch line with your usual winch control. The wheels and the throttle monitor indicator should not move. Now, click the C input in the on direction to enable the mix. Spool the winch line in with your usual winch control. The wheels should rotate in the forward direction. If the wheels are rotating backwards when the winch line is spooling in, then you probably have either the throttle or winch auxiliary channel reversed on the radio, or you have your winch line wound in the opposite direction. Or if you have a brushed motor, the positive and negative wires may be reversed. None of these are a problem. Simply set positive rate values on the custom mix setup screen instead of negative values. When mixing is enabled and you spool the winch line in and out, the truck will drive forward or backward at the same time. Pretty neat, huh? But the real cool part is that should you need the truck to momentarily move slightly faster or slower, for example, due to variations in the terrain, you can simply pull or push the radio trigger to feather the throttle rate. It's like living in the future. With the mix disabled, your throttle and winch are controlled separately as usual. Since the winch control is not proportional, when the mix is enabled, the wheels will likewise turn at a fixed rate. Now is the time to fine-tune that rate. Keep in mind that you most likely want to keep the winch line under slight tension at all times, or risk a tangled mess of winch line. To maintain tension, when spooling in, the wheels should be moving forward slightly slower than the winch line is pulling. When spooling out, for example to lower the truck down an obstacle, the wheels should move backwards slightly faster than the winch line is paying out. It's very likely, with 100% throttle, your truck would move much faster than the winch line could pull it. That is, unless you have a very slow truck and/or a very fast winch. In other words, the throttle rate will need to be a fraction of the winch rate. Hence why we started with a mix rate of 50%. With the truck on the ground, enable the mix and operate the winch. When spooling in, if the truck is driving forward too fast, you will need to reduce the forward rate. Or if the truck is driving too slow and the tires are not helping the winch, then you will need to increase the forward rate. When spooling out, if the truck is driving backwards too fast, you will need to reduce the reverse rate. Or if the truck is driving too slow and the winch line is too slack, you will need to increase the reverse rate. I will now show you how to set forward and reverse mixing to different rates. Normally, to set different values for the master's forward and reverse or left and right functions, you simply enter the rate selector and move the physical master input in one direction or the other. This doesn't seem to work for auxiliary assigned switches. As a workaround, you will temporarily set the master input to throttle. I know it's weird having the master and the slave set to the same channel, but it works. Make sure you have the wheels off the ground each time you adjust the mix rates. On the custom mix setup screen, scroll down to master and press OK. Scroll down to select throttle and press OK. Scroll down to rates and press OK. Slightly pull the throttle to highlight the forward rate. Scroll up or down to adjust the rate. Slightly push the throttle to highlight the reverse rate. Scroll up or down to adjust. Press OK to exit the rate selector. Now, scroll back up to master and press OK. Scroll up to select your winch auxiliary channel and press OK. Test out the updated speed with the truck on the ground. Spool out a meter of winch line and hold it tight or attach it to a solid anchor. Activate mixing. Use the winch control to spool in the line. Do the truck tires match the winch speed while maintaining slight tension on the line? Test out the reverse speed. Use the winch control to spool out the line. Do the truck tires match the winch speed while maintaining slight tension on the line? Repeat the rate adjustment procedure until the mix rates are where you want them. It's highly likely that the forward and reverse rates will differ. Once the mix rates are where you want them, you are done. Isn't that cool? You now have a very versatile winch setup. You can winch as you always have, for example, to pull a friend's truck out of a mud hole, or you can activate mixing and synchronize the winch and throttle, just like those PTO winches we see in full-scale off-road challenge competitions. With both throttle priority and winch priority channel mixing, the tire and winch movements are synchronized. In throttle priority mixing, as seen in the previous video, the winch speed is proportional and varies with the throttle. In winch priority mixing, both the winch and wheel speeds are fixed, though the trigger can be feathered to speed up or slow down the wheels. With winch priority mixing, the winch is always pulling at full speed. This might mean less control for the casual driver, but may also be a decided advantage in a competition scenario. You can decide which mode works best for you. So, let's review what we've learned. First, we reviewed the Spektrum DX5 Rugged's programmable inputs and chose an input for mix activation. Then, we set up winch priority channel mixing. Finally, we adjusted the mix rate so the winch and tires work together for maximum traction and control. I hope that this demonstration of advanced winch control setup on the DX5 Rugged radio has been beneficial to you. Channel mixing opens up a whole new area for customizing your trail truck or rock crawler experience. I'd be curious to know how winch mixing worked for you, or if you have found any other innovative uses for channel mixing. Leave a comment below. I am always keen to read your suggestions and questions. I'd also love to know if there are other topics you would like me to cover in this instructional video format. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more RC Stories Garage tips and run videos. Have fun and stay safe.